Hey there, totally tubular dudes and dudettes. Let's take a gnarly ride down memory lane to the early 80s, a time when leg warmers were the rage, and the Sherman Oaks Galleria reigned supreme. It all began in the fall of 1980. That's when the Galleria opened in the heart of Los Angeles' San Fernando Valley, better known locally as the Valley. It was like the birthplace of the Valley Girl culture. Now, if you're wondering what a Valley Girl is, picture this. Vacuous, giggly girls with a unique language full of likes and totes. These were the trendsetters of the 80s, the queens of the Sherman Oaks Galleria. The mall was their kingdom, where they ruled over trendy boutiques, Pac-Man game booths, and a food arcade. It was like the place to be if you were a teenager in the 80s. But the Valley Girl culture wasn't just confined to the mall, it even inspired a song, dudes. Moon Zappa, the daughter of legendary musician Frank Zappa, penned the song Valley Girl as a way to spend more time with her touring dad. And guess what? The song became a hit, further cementing the Sherman Oaks Galleria's place in pop culture history. Back then, the three-story skylighted enclosed structure was considered the epitome of all that was cool in mass consumption. Teens discovered the Galleria and quickly packed the place. Plenty of the mall rats enjoying all this were boys, but for some reason it was the girls who were noticed. And somehow, someone, somewhere, thought to call them Valley Girls. There was a time when the Sherman Oaks Galleria was the most famous mall in America, at least among those of a certain age. There was a popular new wave clothing store called the Village Muse teens would shop after working out at the Galleria Fitness on the first floor, then buy their favorite cassette tapes and see bands like Bananarama perform in-store at Licorice Pizza. They loved the Galleria and loved that it was mentioned in the hit song Valley Girl. And why not? Following on the popularity of the song, the TV show Real People hosted an Ultimate Valley Girl competition referred to as a nightmare by contest judge Moon Zappa at the Galleria. But sadly, like even the raddest things don't last forever, you know? Before we delve into the decline of our cherished Galleria, let's take some time to honor its golden era, shall we? This exceptional mall was more than just a retail heaven or a cultural hub. It was an authentic movie star. Yes, you got it right. The Sherman Oaks Galleria served as the setting for an array of iconic movies of the 80s. It was the venue for not only Fast Times at Ridgemont High and Valley Girl, but also Night of the Comet, Commando, Back to the Future Part 2, Mother, Phantom of the Mall, Eric's Revenge, Walk Like a Man, Inner Space, and my personal favorite, Chopping Mall. Even the 2011 release Crazy Stupid Love had scenes shot at the Galleria. But it wasn't limited to just films, folks. The Galleria served as the backdrop for music videos, TV shows, and even pop star concerts and album signings, making it a cultural sensation. It was, in essence, the Hollywood of the Valley. Many celebrities would shop here, and upcoming child stars of the 80s played here. It would not be out of this world to catch a Debbie Gibson concert here, or a radio contest. They used to have a yearly animation cell show too. Disney animators would come out and do hand-drawn pictures for guests. In 1981, there was a small airplane that crashed into the May Company. What a scary night that must have been too. Maybe Valley Girl, a movie about Valley girls meeting Valley boys for Valley romance, wasn't Casablanca, but it did give us a glimpse of the early Nicolas Cage with a full head of hair. So let's take a moment to celebrate our Galleria, not only as a mall but as a standalone star. After all, it's not every day that a mall gets to be a part of Hollywood history, right? Keep watching because there's more to explore. So, like, what happened to our beloved Galleria, you ask? Well, let's take a gnarly trip down memory lane, shall we? Picture it, the year was 1994, and the world was rocked quite literally by the Northridge earthquake. The Galleria, our hub of culture and fun, was severely damaged. And like, it never fully bounced back, you know? The Galleria wasn't just battling nature, though. In 1993, Robinsons and May Company merged, forming Robinsons May. Both stores in the mall were converted to Robinsons May, the North store becoming a men's and home store, and the South store becoming a women's and children's store. The next decade saw business at the Galleria decline. In January 1994, the mall closed for 11 days for repairs following the Northridge earthquake. Although the mall reopened quickly, Robinson May didn't reopen its South Wing store for 4 years following the earthquake, and many smaller stores on that floor closed. Major stores started to close, and suddenly, the bright lights of the Galleria seemed a bit dimmer. Other malls began to pop up, stealing the spotlight with their shiny newness. The Galleria, once the heart of the Valley Girl culture, was losing its groove. And then there's the whole internet thing, right? Like, who needs to go to a mall when you can shop in your pajamas at home? Changing tastes and the rise of online shopping started to make malls seem, well, kind of outdated. It was a major blow to the Galleria and malls everywhere. But here's the real kicker. Our beloved Galleria, the birthplace of Valley Girl culture, has been transformed into an office complex. Can you even? Where we once shopped till we dropped and hung out with friends, people are now pushing pencils and having board meetings. It's like totally bummer, right? But hold on to your leg warmers, because there's more. So, what's left from the 1980s Sherman Oaks Galleria today? Fast forward to the new millennium, and the Galleria has, totally transformed. After a major renovation, it reopened in 2002 as this open-air center. It's a far cry from the enclosed mall where Valley Girls used to hang out, but it's still a buzzing spot. Where there were once trendy boutiques and game booths, there are now offices and various tenants. One of the only remnants of the original mall is the court where the Pacific 16 Theaters was located when it reopened, which are on the uppermost of what was previously the Southern Robinson's May store. The majority of the remaining mall was turned into offices. Warner Brothers set up offices in what was once one of the mall entrances, but more on what remains later in the video. Please take a moment to like this video and subscribe. It helps get more videos like this made for your enjoyment later on. The Galleria didn't just fade into obscurity, it evolved with the times. It's like those butterflies that start as caterpillars, you know? And let's not forget about the movie theater. The place where we used to catch the latest flicks, like Totally Got a Makeover. In 2007, it was rebranded once as an ArcLight Cinema, and again just recently as a Regal Theater, keeping things alive in the mid-2020s. So, even though it's not the same old Galleria, it's still home to the magic of the movies. The Galleria today is a blend of the past and the present. It's not just a place, it's a symbol of change and resilience. It's not the birthplace of the Valley Girl culture anymore, but it still holds a piece of that history. So, it's not the same, but the Galleria is still, totally here, you know? What happened during the remodel of our beloved Galleria? And what still exists today from the 1980s? Are you ready to dive into the details? Saddle up, partner, 'cause here we go. Sadly, not a lot remains today, and what does looks very different, unrecognizable even. But more may exist than you think. Perhaps to appreciate the transformation as it deserves, we need to retrace our steps back to its flamboyant past. The Galleria was originally designed as a bold statement of the vibrant energy of the 80s. Its architecture was unapologetically bold, and it bore the unmistakable stamp of the colorful pop culture of that era. Neon lights reflected off multicolored tile floors, creating a psychedelic array of hues that were as iconic as the mall itself. The Time Out Arcade, Perry's Pizza, and B. Dalton Books, long gone now, were daily hangouts, much like how social media is today. Did you hang out there? Tell me your stories. When the decision was made to overhaul the aesthetic of our beloved 80s icon, the aim was not just to modernize it, but to transform it into a vision of sleek elegance that would align more fittingly with the changing times. In other words, it was time for a complete makeover, you know? The first step, as reported by an article from Arch News Now, was the demolition of many of the original structures. It was a drastic step, tearing down the neon lights and multicolored tile floors that had become synonymous with the Galleria. The remodel included gutting a majority of the old mall, the redesign of the entire first and second levels of the skin of the adjacent Imperial Bank Office Tower, and the addition of an updated lobby. In this before and after picture from above, you can see where the skylight once was. In the after picture, if you look closely, you can see that a small portion of the mall courtyard where the elevator was still exists. It's straight down that hole where the skylight once was. It may even be the old elevator shaft. Many of the current offices look down into the old mall courtyard. Yes, you heard me. The courtyard is still there, kind of. If you work or have been in one of these offices, please leave a comment telling us what it looks like today. If you look hard enough at the pictures of the offices and use your imagination, you can see how they made all the stores into offices. Was anyone watching this a Valley Girl that now works in one of these offices? We would love to hear about it in the comments. Please don't hold out on me. Spill the beans, girlfriend. New entries and storefronts were added to the property, and the corner of Ventura is now a main entrance defined by a fountain-adorned plaza that leads to an open-air pedestrian promenade and the flagship store, Tower Records, which is now also sadly gone. A dramatic rotunda creates a two-level vertical node of restaurant retail capped by the new movie theater. The original neon lighting was also preserved, but was repurposed and reused in a more modern, sophisticated manner. Just for a bit more information, the parking structure is still the same for the most part. Also, the current theater is actually located in the upper levels of what used to be the Robinsons store before it was rebuilt. But hold up, what about the interior? The Arch News Now feature revealed that the interior underwent a complete redesign. The goal was to create an ambiance of utmost sophistication. The first thing you'll notice inside the Galleria now are the white terrazzo floors with brass inlay. The ceilings in the brand new rotunda are higher and brighter, creating a sense of grandeur. In summary, the flagship stores like Robinson's May were torn down while the main hallways of the original mall were reimagined into office space, and the parking structure was kept the same. The mall and office space was also opened up to let in more natural light, infusing a sense of serenity to contrast with the hustle and bustle of the shopping crowd. Skylights, glass railings, and light wells were added, all with the intention of brightening up space. The quiet promenade of the 80s that McDonald's used to look out onto was updated as an open-air promenade in the main walkway. Following the grand redesign, the Galleria was expanded. A whole new wing was added. The transformation was so profound that it was like the Galleria went from being a rebellious teenager to a sophisticated adult. The Galleria traded its denim jackets for a designer suit, you know. Despite all these changes, the Galleria still holds on to its past in film history, as if it's saying, I may have changed, but I've not forgotten where I came from. The original spirit of the Galleria, its outrageous Valley Girl spirit, is still very much alive in our hearts. And that's totally tubular, isn't it? But if you ask me what I think of the updated Galleria, I'd say like, gag me with an ashtray. Everything in the 80s was better. Almost. Remember everyone, do something kind today, for yourself and someone else. Thanks for watching.